Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐭 atha dharmo beha samihitaha saiva tat phalam bhunakte tatha tavat amrita vahe. In proportion to the extent of one's religious or irreligious activities in this life, one must enjoy or suffer the corresponding reactions of his karma in the next. Purport by Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada. Śrīla Prabhupada ki. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Udavan gajanti sattvasta madhe tishtanti rajasa jaganya guna vrittista adho gajanti tamasa. Those who act in the mode of goodness are promoted to a higher planetary systems to become demigods. Those who act in an ordinary way and do not commit excessively sinful acts remain within this planetary system. And those who perform abominable sinful actions must go down to where? To hellish life. 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐭 atha dharmo beha samihitaha saiva tat phalam bhunakte tatha tavat amrita vahe. So, Yamaraj, the Yamadutas over here are addressing the Vishnudutas. The background to these verses is that there was a Brahmanical devotee called Ajamil who was brought up in Brahmanical culture and he got degraded. He got degraded because on one occasion, while he was returning from the forest where he had gone to collect flowers for puja. So he wasn't returning from a nightclub or a movie house. He was returning from an auspicious purpose. He had gone to collect flowers for his worship. And on the way back, he saw a prostitute embracing her client. And he started meditating on that incident. So we can see from this his story that even if you may be located in the temple or you may be engaged in devotional service, but if your mind is incorrectly positioned, then your future will be endangered. So Ajamil, he started meditating on that activity. And as a result, a little later, he kept that prostitute as a maidservant, then married her, produced children, and engaged in a variety of sinful activities to keep his prostitute wife happy. If you have a devotee wife, you can live simply. If you have a prostitute mentality wife, then naturally you have to engage in various sinful activities to keep her happy. He had become so sinful that the Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, decided that now he should be brought for punishment. It is not that one can act in any manner he wishes and there is no accountability. That we are all accountable for our actions, whether we are devotees or non-devotees. Even if one becomes a devotee and he doesn't act according to religious principles, then he becomes accountable and liable for punishment. No one is karma-free. So, Yamaraj sent the Yamadutas. Who are the Yamadutas? They are the police force of Yamaraj. Just like in Atlanta or any other country of the world, you have a police force and you have a police commissioner. So Yamaraj is the commissioner for death, and he has a force of Yamadutas that help him. And the Yamadutas, their very appearance is frightful, like you see over here. If you look at the Yamadutas, it's frightful. And this is just a picture. If you were to actually see them with long teeth, long nails, and blackish hair, teeth coming out, teeth are as sharp as that of an animal. So the Yamadutas was sent by Yamraj to bring Ajamil to hell for punishment. And how many Yamadutas came to bring him? 3. Not 4 or 5 or 1 or 2. Why? Why did Yamraj send 3 Yamadutas and not 4, 5, 6 or 1 or 2? Because there are 3 agencies through which we commit pious or impious activities. The 3 agencies are mind, to the tongue, and to the body. To the mind, you can act piously, impiously. To the tongue, you can act piously, impiously. And to the body, you can act in similar ways. So there are 3 main agencies through which we can either get liberated or we can get bonded. If we use these 3 agencies in service to the Lord, they open the doors for liberation. And when you use the 3 agencies for His sense pleasure, then they further entangle ourselves in the cycle of birth and death. So Ajamil, when he saw these Yamadutas, fearful, frightening, he cried, he shouted his youngest son's name, to which he was excessively attached. Excessively. He couldn't even live without him for a second. If he would go out of sight for a second, he would get disturbed. But the fortunate thing was, he named his youngest kid after the name of the Lord, namely Narayan. This was a common practice in India and around the world to give the children names of God. The Christians have also had this tradition. They give their names, Saint Mark, Saint Patrick, Mary, Virgin Mary, so on. The Mohammedans also have this practice. They give Muhammad, Akbar. In the Russian tradition also, that has been a tradition. So, and in the Hindus also there's been a tradition to give your children names of God. The logic is that when you address your children, then you're indirectly always chanting the names of the Lord. Of course, if you have a son and you name him Kṛṣṇa, and all day you're calling him Kṛṣṇa, you can't include that in a 16-round quota. You can say, I chanted for 2 hours, I address my son for 2 hours, so I've done my 16 rounds for the day. Now, but the point is, nevertheless, naming your children after the name of the Lord is a tradition by which the parents also get purified. Unfortunately, in today's environment, society has got so degraded that even in India you see parents don't want to give their children spiritual names now. Sometimes parents come to us saying, Maharaj, Swamiji, please give them a name. So we give them a name, and then the mother says, oh Father, do you have any other name? Then we give them another name. Ultimately, they reveal their inner desire. They want a modern Western flavored name. So then we have to tell them you've come to the wrong person. So, this tradition of naming children after names of God is a very ancient system. And here we see that Ajamil was practicing it. The story of Ajamil is very, very old. Because 5,000 years ago, when 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿 Goswami was reciting the Bhagavatam, 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿 Goswami told Parikshit Maharaj that I've heard from the ancient Puranas this story. So this incident or this pastime probably took place at least 6,000-7,000 years ago. Because 5,000 years ago, 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿 Goswami said, I heard a very ancient story. Where? In the Puranas. So 6,000-7,000 years ago, this tradition was there to name your children after the names of God. So Ajamil in desperation, addressed his younger son, and as soon as he uttered the word Narayan, who appeared? The Vishnu Dutas. Just like the Yamadutas are the police force of Yamaraj, the Vishnu Dutas are the reps or the representatives of Lord Vishnu. But unlike the Yamadutas, the Vishnu Dutas are very handsome because they're descending from the spiritual world. They look godly. Their features resemble those of the Lord. So the Vishnu Dutas appeared, and as we know, they stopped the Yamadutas from taking Arjuni's soul to hell. So the Yamadutas were stopped from discharging their duty by whom? By the Vishnu Dutas. And in fact, this was the first time in history that their master Yamaraj had sent them on an assignment, and they were stopped by someone. So then there was a dialogue that took place between the Vishnu Dutas and the Yamadutas, and the Vishnu Dutas wanted to know what is the process of punishing others. In other words, who are the people who get punished? Are all the materialists engaged in fruitive activities punishable, or only some of them? The Vishnu Dutas are inquiring from the Yamadutas. Now, the Yamadutas have begun to reply, and Yamadutas are describing what is religion. What do they say? Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad pranita. The religion means the words of God, and that which is prescribed in the Vedic Dharma are called religious principles. And what is irreligion? If what is prescribed in the Vedas is religion, then what is irreligion? Question. What is not prescribed in the Vedas? Logical. So Yamaraj said that what is not prescribed in the Vedas constitutes actually a religion. Then Yamaraj the Yamadutas go on to identify various witnesses to all our activities. Prabhupada used to tell us that when he was studying in Scottish College, Calcutta, once he was talking to his friends, and a Scottish professor appeared on the scene and said, "You Hindus believe in reincarnation, but who is witnessing all our activities? Who is witness?" Just like anybody who knows law knows that to convict a criminal, you have to have witnesses. If you have no witnesses, then even a murderer gets away scot-free. The Kali Yuga laws are so defective. Therefore, what these professional murderers do, they just do their act in such a way that there are no witnesses. So, Yamaraj and the Yamadutas are testifying that they are various witnesses to our actions. In the third canto of the Bhagavatam, you read about the dialogue between Lord Kapila Dev and his mother Devahuti. His mother Devahuti knew that her son is the personality of Godhead. When he was in the womb, this was revealed by Lord Brahma. So she wanted to know, my dear son, on what basis is it decided what type of body one is going to get? And who are the witnesses? To which the Lord replied, Karmana deva netrina jantu deho papataya. That all our actions are being witnessed by several witnesses. All our actions are being observed by several witnesses. And who are some of the witnesses? The sun. The sun is one of the witnesses. The sun and the moon are the two eyes of God. The sun and the moon have the capacity to see everything. Just like these days, you have the Google site and you have all these sites you can log on and you can even find out in China where the tanks are situated. Their cameras are picking up where the camera, where the tanks are situated in India, where they're situated in Pakistan. You don't need more intelligence now. You can just go on the internet. You have these spy satellites, cameras that can take pictures of virtually everything, even the number plates on the car. Say that when you travel by air, you go through an X-ray machine. Before your luggage gets on the plane, it is screened. You don't know that, but they don't put any suitcase on the plane till they screen it. You go to previously you had the X-ray, but now they've gone so much ahead of that. You can go and get a CT scan. You can see virtually every organ of your body right in front of you on the screen. You can even dream of that. So the karmis can come up with all this technology to record your pictures, your movements, etc. Why can't the sun and moon witness everything? It's totally conceivable. And the thing that is inconceivable is an act of foolishness. So there are several witnesses to our activities. The sun, the moon, fire, sky, then air. Can you live without air? No, you can't. There's a demigod in charge of air. Evening, day, night, any sinful activity you do applies either in the day or in the night. Then directions, water, land, and ultimately one more. Super soul. The Paramatma. Just like Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hirdi sanivishto mataha smriti jnanam apahanam cha. He says, I am the cause of smaranam, remembrance, and apohanam, forgetfulness. Paramatma is the cause. Why is it the Lord causes one to remember and one to forget? Why? Because the Lord has given us all freedom and we can decide how we want to execute our freedom. If we didn't if we didn't have freedom, then where would the question be of voluntarily surrendering to the Lord? So Yamadutas have established that the candidates for punishment are those who are confirmed by so many witnesses. In the material world, you can always cheat. In the material world, you can always bribe. It's not uncommon that witnesses get bribed, even the juries get bribed, even the judges get bribed. It's so common. But you can't bribe Yamraj or the Yamadutas or these witnesses. They are above corruption. So all of them testify. And Yamadutas have also said that everyone engaged in fruitive activities is also subject to punishment. Now, fruitive activities are a type of business relationship with the Lord, karma kanda, in the sense that you agree to do some yajnas, etc. You agree to give some donation, sacrifice. But in exchange, what do you want? Pure devotional service? No. In exchange you have your wish list of material desires. So, Narottam Das Thakur has said that fruitive activities are comparable to drinking drinking poison from a golden cup. Poison, whether you drink from an ordinary cup or a golden cup, is it going to make any difference? No. Poison is poison. So, Narottam Das Thakur condemns fruitive activities also. So, whether you act piously or impiously. If you act piously, then you get promoted. Where? To the heavenly planets. And if you've acted sinfully, in a sinful manner, then you get degraded to the lower planets. And if you've acted piously and not minimized your sinful activities, then you have a chance of taking birth again in this material world. The point is, based on our actions, our next life gets established. And Prabhupada makes a point in the purport to text 44 that the difference between human beings and non-human beings is that human beings are supposed to follow the direction of the Vedas, and in the non-human beings, they are exempted. They don't have to follow the laws of the Vedas. But human beings, if they act improperly, they become liable for punishment. But the animals do not. When a lion eats a male, a human being, he doesn't take on any sinful reaction. But when a human being even steps on an ant and kills an ant, he takes on sinful reaction. Because, as we've heard many times, human life is a life of responsibility. You cross the street on a red light, the cops will arrest you. A dog or a cat crosses the street on a red light, he's not going to get arrested. So we've seen that human life is a life of responsibility. Therefore, the government passes legislation for human beings. Therefore, human beings are expected to conform to a certain etiquette, code, etc. But animals are not expected to. So Prabhupada makes the point that unfortunately people manufacture their own ways without reference to the Vedas. Just like these days, there's so many religious processes. Last night I was talking about the incarnations and the fake incarnations of God who claim to be God and they can't establish themselves as God by performing superhuman activities. When God appears, He performs superhuman activities which cannot be equal or rivaled by anybody else. So many people today are concocting religion, as Prabhupada says in the purport. So what does this result to? Rupa Goswami has said, Shruti Smriti Pranadi Panchratraga Vidimvina Ekantiki Hari Bhakti Utpada Eva Kalpate. He said that religious process that is not based upon Shruti and Smriti will actually simply create a disturbance in society. So as a result, you see that many people claim they are preaching religion, but because it is not based on Shruti and Smriti, simply creates a disturbance in society. So, Yamadutas are making it clear that everyone in the material world is punishable, especially everyone who is contaminated by the three modes of nature. Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that the living entity, when he comes in contact with material nature, he gets influenced by how many modes? Three modes. What are the three modes? Passion and ignorance. Now each of these modes has different characteristics. In goodness, one has concept of happiness. He thinks that I know what's right, and he thinks, oh, what I'm doing is okay. No need to go beyond that. And at least he's not sinful, but he's not at the point of complete surrender to the Lord. He has understanding of religious principles, but he doesn't have understanding of ultimate surrender. So in goodness, a man is happier than the others, but still it's way behind pure love of God. Then you have the mode of passion. The symptom of the mode of passion is he works very hard and he wants to enjoy the fruits of his work. He works very hard, earns money, but then he feels, I worked hard, it's my money. I should enjoy it for my sense enjoyment. He is very attached to the result. Then there is ignorance. In ignorance, one is inactive, one is lazy, one doesn't inquire about spirituality at all. That is in ignorance. Now, Krishna says, when all the gates of the when the nine gates are illuminated with knowledge, that is considered to be one is in the mode of goodness. Krishna also says, as long as you are in the material modes, there's always a competition going on. Competition between the material modes. Sometimes the mode of goodness wins, sometimes the mode of passion wins, sometimes the mode of ignorance wins. So ultimately Krishna's advice is, go beyond the modes and come to what level? Shuddha Sattva or pure goodness. So Yamadutas are making the point that as long as one is under the modes, he must get the punishment also. Now, if you've done a lot of pious activities, giving in charity, giving cows in charity, feeding brahmanas, feeding prasad, then okay. As a result of these pious activities, you will be promoted to the heavenly planets. But again, if you can get promoted to the heavenly planets, can you stay there permanently? No. You can only stay there as long as your karma allows you. Just like a plane can only fly in the sky as long as it has enough fuel. And before the fuel runs out, it has to land, otherwise it will crash. So even if you do pious activities, you get elevated to the heavenly planets, where the standard of living, where the so-called material comforts are thousands of times in excess of what you can experience in the material world. Just like in the material world, you can see the different standards of living for different people. I'm sure Bill Gates lives in a higher standard than most of you live at, right? So you can see even when there's an early planet, you have millionaires who live in a higher standard than paupers. And you can see some countries are more developed than other countries. So there's a discrepancy. So similarly, on heavenly planets, the standard of living is far in excess of this earthly planet. But however, as Kṛṣṇa says, Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartana rajana mama patita kondya pana janma na vidyate. Even if you go to Brahma Loka, still you will not be able to free yourself from the cycle of birth and death. So devotees are not interested in fruitive activities also. Vyasadeva, even after having compiled the vast Vedic literature, was still feeling very, very unhappy. And while he was meditating, what's the cause of this unhappiness? I presented this vast Vedic literature. Then, who appeared? Narada Muni. And he told them, the cause of his unhappiness was that he has not exclusively presented the importance of pure devotional service or unmotivated devotional service to the Lord. And then came the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Shukadeva Goswami, the Yamadutas are establishing, whether you act piously or impiously, as long as you have this material body, there will be reaction. If you acted piously, then you get promoted to the heavenly planet. But there again, you can only stay for a period of time, as long as the karmas don't get exhausted, and then again, you have to descend. So, Yamadutas are making the point, in proportion to the extent of one's religious or irreligious activities, one must enjoy or suffer the corresponding reactions of his karma in the next. So these verses are very clearly establishing that in proportion to how we act, our future will be decided. What does Kṛṣṇa say? Ye yathamam prapadayate. All of them, as they surrender to me, what do? I reward them accordingly. In the Bible, it is said, as you sow, you shall reap. As you sow, you shall reap. So where is this as you sow, you shall reap theme coming from? This verse. Here clearly it is being said, in proportion. So in proportion to our pious or impious activities, one must enjoy or suffer the reactions of this karma in the next. So in proportion to how we have acted, our future gets decided. If, for example, we have acted completely surrendering to the Lord, carrying out His duty, His instructions, following regular principles, etc., then Kṛṣṇa says, without doubt, where will you come? You'll come to me, without doubt. Have no doubt. Just like if you have $100 bill, a genuine $100 bill and not a fake bill, you have the confidence you can go to any store and cash it. So you should have the confidence that if I surrender to Kṛṣṇa, if I don't withhold, if I give up my material attachments, for a higher cause, then you have to have, and Krishna is going to protect me. That faith can be developed by the execution of bhajana kriya. When you execute the process of devotional service, but that execution, our faith in Krishna as a Supreme Father, our faith in Krishna as the ultimate enjoyer, our faith in Krishna as our well-wisher increases. What increases or decreases our faith is the degree to which we execute devotional practices and instructed by the Acharya. So it is very clearly being mentioned here that in proportion to how we have acted, our future gets decided. And as we said earlier, there are several witnesses to all our activities, not one or two. And above all, there is the Paramatma, the Lord in the heart. The Paramatma is causing giving us remembrance and forgetfulness. Why does the Paramatma cause one to remember and another to forget? Why? Who knows? The Lord has given everyone desire, freedom. Sometimes people say, why did Krishna give us this freedom? If we had no freedom, we'd be forced to do devotional service. Just like people say, why did God create Maya? If there was no Maya, we'd have no problem. We'd all be there. Now because Maya is there, because freedom is there, we have to struggle, we go in there. Every morning we get up, oh, another day of struggle. How am I going to fight Maya today? But if there was no Maya then. So this Maya is there, or the illusory energy, because the living entities wanted to have the opportunity to be real enjoyers like God, be God's competitors. And the Lord has given everyone a free choice. He doesn't want to force us to serve Him. We have the free choice. Just like in a democratic country like the United States, you have the free choice to what degree you want to follow the government. So Krishna reciprocates. When Krishna sees that here is somebody who wants to serve me, then Krishna arranges the necessary association. It may be the association of a devotee, maybe the association of a transcendental book of Prabhupada, but Krishna arranges a situation by which one can get exposed to spiritual life. So our faith that Krishna is my ultimate protector, that Krishna is my well-wisher, will be strengthened by the execution of bhajana kriya. It is our experience and observation that devotees who sincerely follow sadhana, they are able to develop strong faith. And those who are weak in sadhana, don't chant around attentively, etc. Now they may be hanging, but they don't really have very, very strong faith that Krishna is my ultimate protector. Krishna is the ultimate protector, and the Lord reciprocates in proportion to our surrender. So Prabhupada is making the point that in proportion to one's religious or irreligious activities, one enjoys or suffers. So we should not think that I can do what I want, nobody's witnessing, and I'll get away scot-free. No. Everything is being witnessed, everything is being recorded, and our computers may have crashes, but Yamraja's computer never gets virus infection. Okay, Yamraja's computer is totally reliable, and everything is being recorded. And when the Paramatma sees, now this man is tired of material life, then the Paramatma directs him to a situation where he gets a book or devotee association, and thereby he begins to cultivate spiritual life. So devotees have to act very cautiously, just like the seventh offense is committing sins on the strength of chanting. Now sometimes when devotees hear the story of Ajamil that we have briefly summarized, they say, Ajamil, he did this Brahmanical work, then he fell in bad association, and then he was rescued by the Vishnu Dutas. So they say, no, I've chanted, I've been initiated for 20 years. I've been chanting for so many years the holy name. Let me also engage in sense enjoyment. And at the moment of death, I've already given my son Narayan name. I'll call him Narayan or Krishna or Ram, Chaitanya, Abhay. A lot of parents give their kids the name Abhay. So, I'll say that, Abhay! And then Prabhupada will come. So, is that feasible? Yes or no? Why? Why is it not? It was feasible in Arjun's case, so why is it not feasible in your case, in our case? I'll do exactly what Arjun did. I was born in Brahminical culture, I've been initiated for 20 years, and so I'll take a little break from devotional service. So why is it not feasible? There's a reason. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained on the story of Ajamil that Ajamil, when he was chanting the names of Narayan, he wasn't chanting with the intention of counteracting his sinful activities. He knew he was engaged in sinful activities, but he wasn't thinking, I am chanting Hare Krishna, Narayan, 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 so my sinful activities reaction is going to be minimized or terminated. He wasn't chanting from that angle. He was chanting out of his attraction to the attachment to the Lord, to his son, and the Lord having this auspicious, and his son having this auspicious name. So, if we were to try and do this, then that would constitute the seventh offense, which is what? Committing sins on the strength of chanting. Whereas in the case of Ajamil, he was not committing sins on the strength of chanting. He wasn't chanting the names of Narayan to nullify anything. Whereas if we were to copy it and think, because I'm initiated, because I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I'm going to be automatically pardoned, then that would become committing sins on the strength of chanting. You're thinking, now I'm initiated, now I've been chanting for so many years, so many of my sins have been wiped out because I'm chanting. So I can commit some fresh sins. So that should be avoided. Just like you take a bank loan, then you pay out the loan, then you think a businessman thinks, oh, let me take a fresh loan. So it's not that now I'm initiated, now I've been chanting, so I can now think fresh reaction. So this story of Ajamil points out how important the holy name of the Lord is, how powerful the holy name of the Lord is, and as it is said, knowingly or unknowingly, anyone who takes the holy name is guaranteed to reap only benefit. So this is the power of the holy name. So to summarize, in today's verse it is said, quoting the verse from the 14th chapter, how those who engage in pious activities get promoted to heavenly planets and the others get degraded. And the Vishnu Dutas have pointed out that we are all subject to scrutiny. It is not that nobody is exempted from scrutiny. That we are all being observed, and based on our actions, our future will be decided. So this story of Ajamil also tells us power of the holy name. The holy name is so powerful that knowingly or unknowingly, anyone who chants the holy name is going to get nothing but benefit. Therefore, we should chant the holy name and propagate the chanting of the holy name. And by this process, we make spiritual advancement, and this is the ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life is to make spiritual advancement and go back to Godhead. And this process of devotional service is the principal medium through which this can be realized. So we should sincerely follow the process, we should rigidly follow the process, and then spiritual success is guaranteed. Hare Krishna.